Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Peter Swanz with Vital Force Naturopathy, and I'm here to share a very brief presentation that I gave this week talking about some things we can do to stay healthy when heading back to school. And I want you to know this is for you. Now, this is just information I'm sharing. None of this is direct recommendations. If you or your family's starting to get sick, you should absolutely check in with your primary care, your naturopath, your holistic practitioner. What this is, what I'm trying to share here, is information that I think can be relevant as far as understanding what's going on with the healthcare crisis in America, and then why we need to tonify your health as opposed to overstimulate it. Ultimately, I want to be part of your health team. I want you to understand that you should be in charge of your health and your family's health. You get to make the decisions about what works and will not work for your family, and you need to put people around you who can support you and help you to make the most of the information that's out there. So I would love to be part of your health team, and I'm going to have some contact information for you here at the end of the presentation. What we're going to talk about is just really what's going on with the healthcare or sick care crisis in America, why we need to tonify our immune system, and then what the difference is when we stimulate our immune system if getting sick. And I always like to ask, what does it take to be healthy today? And I've been doing talks about health and holistic healing for about 18 years now. And I always ask this question, and people will say things like better nutrition, better hydration, exercise, stress management, a community, right? These are the same answers I get every time. That's even when I'm doing presentations in front of groups of doctors or nurses. What's cool about this, right, is that we all intuitively know we need to make lifestyle modifications if we want to change our health. Even the doctors and the nurses and the nurse practitioners and the PAs, even the people who are pushing prescription drugs and surgeries know that that's not what it takes to be healthy. So if we know what we need to do more of, why do we keep doing the same things, giving more and more prescriptions when ultimately that's making people sicker? Well, this is one of the reasons, right? It's money. The current medical system incentivizes us being sick. And what that means is the hospitals, the urgent care centers, the pharmaceutical industry, the medical device manufacturers, the insurance companies, everybody is making more money when there's more sick people. If somebody is sick and becomes truly healthy, they've now lost a customer out of that system, and that's bad business. So it's really hard to get healthy, to stay healthy, to maintain health in a system that has incentivized us being sick. And there's a real problem with this. The US has the most expensive healthcare system in the world. And these numbers are higher. We're up over $11,000 now. This was from 2018. Germany's closest behind us. They're like half of where we are. This news is it's even more troublesome when we realize that the US is the least healthy country in all of the world with the most expensive system. And we got worse over the last 3 years at the same time that the US was experiencing record profits in the conventional medical system. So get that. More profits, more sick people. These things are not coincidental. If we want to get healthy, we've got to be willing to do something different and look at our health from a more holistic perspective. The conventional approach is reductionistic. We're trying to put everybody into a box. It's based on an abnormal lab or an abnormal exam finding. But once you get in the box, then it's boom, cookbook medicine. What is your prescription drug or procedure that you need? The problem with this reductionistic approach is it doesn't consider the individual holistically, and it creates pharmaceutical dependency because we get content just treating the symptoms of that diagnosis. We've got to be willing to do something different. This is a Medicare quote. Care that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of life is not considered medically necessary and therefore not payable. You all, this is big trouble, right? This is a federal statute. What that means is the insurance companies are going to fall right in line with this. So if we want to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of our life, it will not be covered by insurance, which means we have to take ourselves out of a broken system if we truly, truly want to be healthy. So that's the quick synopsis of what's wrong here with everything going on. Now let's talk into what we want to do for our families and our kids heading into the fall. Kids get sick at school. We know this. It's because they're all crammed in together in smaller spaces. They're not getting as much fresh air, vitamin D. They don't wash their hands. We don't clean up after yourself. And often you'll have a few kids who are perpetually sick, continuing to bring it back into the school, then exposing other kids. So it's just a matter of these upper respiratory infections and putting people into this nice petri dish where things can spread. And then what happens? A kid gets sick in school, they bring it home, and then it spreads throughout the house. We need to think about our immune system and what is it when we're sick, right? We often talk about or focus on the symptoms. And what I want to argue here is that the symptoms are really just the very superficial expression of what is going on underneath. It's the immune system working to try to fight the infection that's resulting in these symptoms. So we're not wanting to just focus superficially on the symptoms. We want to look at that big picture. What's going on under the surface? What do we need to do to keep or encourage the immune system to work better? If we want to talk about preventing illness, what we're talking about is tonifying the immune system. We don't want to overstimulate our immune system when we're just trying to prevent illnesses. We want to stimulate the immune system if we're actually getting sick. We've started to get sick. We've been exposed to something. We know we've been exposed. Let's crank up the immune system so things don't get worse. But we can't go all winter redlining the immune system. So it always makes me nervous when a patient comes in and says, "Hey, Dr. Swanz, I'm taking echinacea and zinc all winter so I don't get sick." The echinacea is a stimulant. That is not a good herbal tonifier. We do want to think about some of the lifestyle factors for kids as they're heading back to school. In Nutrition 101, excuse me, when you're sending a child out the door, is we've got to get them eating a warm breakfast. Protein front and center. The last thing we want to give kids heading out the door is dairy and grains, cereal and milk. It just sluggish, slows them down, creates more mucus, which then potentially is more susceptible to getting exposed to upper respiratory stuff back at school. So, a warm breakfast with some protein is going to get kids out, give them more energy, help them to focus throughout the day. We all want to stay hydrated. This is another way we keep our immune system working well. We want to drink good quality filtered water, eat lots of veggies and fruits, get those colors in our daily diet, avoiding processed foods. And as adults, as parents, we need to model this for our children. When we eat like this, it makes it so much easier for kids to fall in line and eat like this. We want to tonify our immune system. So basic vitamin D, right? We learned over the last few years, vitamin D deficiency, worse prognosis with a particular illness, right? That's with all illnesses. Almost everybody needs to supplement vitamin D. Probiotic, a lot of what is going on with our immune system is starting in our gut with our digestive system. So taking a probiotic is a great way to keep kids healthy. N-acetylcysteine, that's one that, we often can't get a powder or a liquid. So if you've got a kid that can swallow a capsule, NAC, N-acetylcysteine, is a great idea. It's especially important if kids are playing sports where they might have head trauma, because it can help to kind of lessen the impact of a concussion or repeated head trauma, even if not a concussion. Excuse me. And then I would also do a multivitamin and mineral. And these are kind of just basic supports. Other ideas, what people want to talk about a lot is herbal medicine. So like we said, Echinacea is a stimulant. That's not what we would want to do, but elderberry would be a much better immune tonifier, or something like astragalus. So a lot of people will use these during the winter. And then if we're starting to get sick, now we want to crank up the immune system and really try to fight things off. And this should only take about 7 to 10 days. So we can do orthomolecular supplementation, higher doses of vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C, the NAC, the zinc, the probiotic, right? That's gonna keep things up. I wouldn't generally use zinc throughout the winter because it can cause a copper deficiency, but sporadically getting a little zinc in is going to be great. We've got great herbal medicines that'll fight an infection, things like echinacea, wild cherry bark, licorice root, ginger root, elderberry, and then there's some awesome homeopathic medicines too. And all of these things can be done in conjunction with each other. And I am happy to share some handouts that give more specific information about the homeopathics, or some ideas for doing some of this herbal medicine at home. Just reach out through the website, through the contact information, and let me know what you're interested in, and I'm happy to share. Not only do we want to crank up the immune system, but we need to take it easy. We need to have good self care practices for ourselves or our loved ones when they get sick. Often, adults, we take care of everyone else and then neglect ourselves. So we need to prioritize sleep and hydration. I'm a huge fan of a neti pot. It's a great way to flush the sinuses and hopefully keep any sort of sinus upper respiratory thing from progressing worse. We've got to get, resting, relaxing through the day. Warming wet socks is a great practice. You can check out my instructions on YouTube. You can do that every night while you're fighting an infection. There's a lot of back and forth about the masks still, right? They don't seem to help as much in the ways that we thought. Maybe they did. Where I think a mask would really be valuable is if you are sick, leaving the house, you got to go out, you got to run errands, you got to pick the kids up from school, whatever, put a mask on. It's a great way to let others know you're sick, and others can then give you a wider kind of, breath, walking around, just not get so close. That's how we should use masks. Sick people wear them. We've got to continue to wash our hands, and not a bad idea to maybe ozone the house. If we've got people getting sick repeatedly in the house, and you can buy an ozone machine for under $100. You run it in the house, you leave the house. It's almost like a fumigation of the house to kill viruses and bacteria. So you'd want to leave the house while you run it for a couple hours. I do this a lot of times when I head into work. So those are some great ideas. And there's things you can do at home, right? A garlic oxymel. I'm happy to share a recipe. That's an immune support. And oxymel is a vinegar preparation. So we do some garlic, vinegar, and honey, and it's actually very tasty. And you can make a batch, and it'll last for 4 weeks in the fridge, and you can just use it as needed. Kids dealing with earaches, and onion poultice is a great option. There's a carrot poultice for sore throats. So there's a lot of just kind of old school hydrotherapy, kitchen medicine that is so effective and so empowering for parents to have these tools at their disposal at home during the school year. So what you got to just ask yourself is, hey, are you ready to make changes? Do you want to do some different things for your health, for your family? Does this sound like this is congruent with what you need? And if it does, reach out. Give me a call. Give me a email, info@vitalforcenaturopathy.com. Call the office, 812-716-4325. Visit the website. Submit through there. I have tons of information. I want to help you, empower your family to do better, be better, stay healthier this fall. And I just look forward to speaking with anybody. So thanks so much for checking this out. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon. All right. Peace, love, and health always.